White finished off the game by accurately converting their endgame advantage into a win. A strong opening that strikes the center and offers several strong follow-ups, creating good attacking chances by starting with an off-balance opening, developing the knight and supporting the center, in this variation of the Sicilian. d6 opens up the light-squared bishop and prevents white from pushing the pawn to e5 after black eventually plays knight f6. d4 offers to trade the d-pawn for the c-pawn, giving up a center pawn for more active pieces. c takes d4 gives black 2 central pawns versus 1 central pawn for white. Knight takes d4 recaptures the pawn and activates the knight in return for having 1 central pawn versus black's 2 central pawns. Knight f6 develops the knight toward the center and attacks the undefended e4 pawn. Knight c3 defends the e4 pawn and starts to develop on the queen side. g6 prepares to fianchetto, the dark squared bishop on g7, where it will sit on the long diagonal. Bishop e3 supports the strong d4 knight in the center. Bishop g7 puts the bishop on the long diagonal in a move called a fianchetto. f3 supports the e4 pawn and prepares to develop the dark squared bishop to e3 and the queen to d2, a common attacking setup versus fianchetto systems. Castling gets the king out of the center and activates the rook. Queen d2 develops the queen, defends the bishop on e3, and prepares to castle queenside. Knight c6 develops the knight, attacks the knight on d4, and controls the e5 square. Bishop c4 develops the bishop to an active square, attacks the f7 pawn, and allows white to castle kingside. This maintains the balance in material with a good trade. A straightforward recapture. This offers an equal trade of pieces. This forces the opponent to double pawns. A clear recapture. The better move was to castle on the opposite side of the opponent. This allows the opponent to pin a knight. This adds pressure by pinning a knight. That's fine. A solid choice. White activates the last piece, bringing all pieces into play. This threatens to tactically win a pawn. This permits the opponent to sacrifice a rook for a nice tactic. The rook was sacrificed, a stunning move. A straightforward recapture. This misses an opportunity to win material through a tactic. This threatens to tactically win a pawn. This wins material. This is the strongest option. This wins material. Right on target. This is the only good move. A clear recapture. A straightforward recapture. This evades the check from the bishop. This defends the attack pawn. Very precise. This is the strongest option. A very strong play. Right on target. The piece finds a new active square. One of the best moves. Very precise. This is a fair move. An active king is critical in the endgame, and get a solid choice. This is the strongest option. With the rook now developed as well, black has all pieces ready for action. Right on target. That's not a mistake, but it's not the best move either. This move puts the pawn on a safer square. Very precise. The clearly correct move for a threatened pawn. This creates a pawn chain, linked pawns that form a strong structure. A very strong play. Black's bishop has moved to a square with greater activity and control. There were worse moves, but also something much better. The knight is kicked by a pawn and must now move or be captured. This moves the knight to safety. One of the best moves. This threatens to force isolated doubled pawns. This stops the opponent from being able to force isolated doubled pawns. That's fine. The bishop finds a new active square. The knight finds a new active square. This is not the right idea. This is the strongest option. This permits the opponent to kick a bishop. The correct move to safety. The clearly correct move for a threatened bishop. There was only one good move there. This was a game-changing move. Black is no longer. This is a fair move. The correct move to safety. That's not a mistake, but it's not the best move either. A solid choice. That's fine. A very strong play. Right on target. Very precise. After all captures, this is an equal trade. A clear recapture. This is the only good move, pushing a passed pawn. There was only one good move there, and black did not spend enough time trying to find it. This maintains the balance in material with a good trade. A straightforward recapture. One of the best moves. The better move was to move a rook to a more active position. This is the strongest option. Black's piece has moved to a square with greater activity. That pawn was free for the taking. A solid choice. The passed pawn moves towards its goal. That was a free pawn. This prevents the opponent from being able to win a pawn through a very strong play. One of the best moves. A solid choice. The passed pawn moves towards its goal. Right on target. This steps away from the checking rook. A very strong play. This evades the check from the rook.